The Florida state capital, located in Tallahassee, stands as a symbol of governance and history, representing both the state's past and its political present. Serving as the center of Florida's government, the capital is home to the legislative chambers and the offices of the governor and other key officials. Tallahassee, Florida's capital city since 1824, was chosen for its central location between the two major cities of the time, St. Augustine and Pensacola. Over the years, the Florida state capitol complex has grown and evolved to reflect the state's burgeoning population and its increasing importance in national affairs. The original Florida state capitol was constructed in 1845. The same year Florida achieved statehood. A modest structure at the time, it was significantly smaller and less elaborate than the capital that stands today. As Florida grew, so did its government, necessitating expansions and renovations. By the 20th century, the old Capitol building, while still revered for its historical value, was no longer sufficient for the state's growing legislative needs. In the early 1970s, a new Capitol building was constructed to address the state's needs for more space. This new building, completed in 1977, was a striking contrast to the original, rising 22 stories. It is the tallest Capitol building in the United States, embodying Florida's aspirations and modernity. The tower is flanked by the House and Senate chambers, both housed in 5-story wings that are part of the complex. The architectural style of the modern Capitol, with its clean lines and towering form, reflects mid-century modernism, blending Florida's historical reverence with its contemporary growth. While the new Capitol became the seat of government, the old Capitol, with its iconic red and white striped awnings and dome, was preserved. In 1978, it was restored to its 1902 appearance and now operates as a museum, showcasing Florida's political history, including exhibits on governors, the legislature, and the role of the state in national politics. The Florida state capitol is not just an architectural landmark but a hub of political activity. As the seat of Florida's government, it is where laws are debated, passed, and signed. The Capitol is where Florida's elected officials come to work, including the governor, who has offices in the building, as well as the state legislature, which convenes here to shape policies that affect millions of Floridians. Tallahassee, though often overshadowed by Florida's larger cities like Miami, Orlando, and Tampa, plays a crucial role in the state's governance. The Capitol, as the city's centerpiece, makes Tallahassee a focal point for political discussions and decision-making. It is also a place where citizens can engage with their government. Thousands of people visit the Capitol each year, whether to tour the historic building, meet with their representatives, or participate in protests and demonstrations. The Capitol also serves as a venue for civic engagement, with advocacy groups, lobbyists, and citizens regularly making their voices heard on the various issues facing Florida, from environmental policies affecting the Everglades to debates on education reform and healthcare. The Capitol is where these critical conversations take place. Beyond its functional role, the Florida state capitol carries significant symbolic weight. It represents the ideals of democracy, transparency, and governance in Florida. The modern Capitol's imposing height can be seen as a reflection of the state's ambitions and growing influence, while the preservation of the old Capitol shows respect for Florida's history and traditions. The preservation of the old Capitol as a museum also ensures that future generations can learn about Florida's political history and the evolution of its government. The juxtaposition of the old and new Capitol buildings symbolizes the balance between honoring the past and embracing the future. In conclusion, the Florida state capitol in Tallahassee is a critical part of the state's identity. As the home of its government and a key player in its historical narrative, the Capitol stands as both a working institution and a monument to Florida's past, present, and future. Whether one is a visitor interested in Florida's history or a lawmaker shaping its future, the capital remains a place of profound significance in the Sunshine State.